Hello and welcome back to the finish line and another weekend preview. As always, I'm joined by Tom and Dave is back. How are we, Dave, again? All well?
I'm good, yeah, not too bad. Fair play to Andrew for standing in for me when I was otherwise engaged, I suppose.
Yes.
Sounds like you're on a loo or something.
I was having a 3-week shit.
I tell you, the episodes were great. Was he lying when he said he was 21?
It was like the first time when Tom told me he was 27.
I don't believe it. Like. I was watching, I was like, nah, he's surely taking the piss when he said that. 21, he sounds about 40.
It does. Imagine he had a podcast now and there was no video, and then you seen the face to the voice first time ever. You'd be like, this is not right.
I don't know.
He's good crack though, and he got into it as well. I'm sure he'll be on again. And LeBroy ran in the classic chase. I had the last laugh there, nearly anyway. Not quite, but
he's an absolute wagon of a horse now. He is.
He's a tool, to say the least. Right. Speaking of more tools, Charles Byrnes. Do you like the way I went into that, Tom? Don't you be going, you're going to get Adam more than I am now, so don't start. Tom, before we get into this, it's 8:30 right now. We've been talking since about 8 o'clock. Tom's in fine form. He is slating everybody. Charles Byrnes is getting the next.
There's just spoofers out there, lads. There's complete spoofers out there. And as I said to you, you're not in a position to call them out because I haven't got that much money, but if I had a few million sat in the bank, I'd probably do it. But if you just scratch the surface, lads, there are spoofers out there, and it's not hard to find them. So,
but do we not have Freedom of Speech Act and shit like that to stand on?
Nope, probably
it.
not. It's truthful as well. What we'd be saying is truthful. But anyway, I think people know what we're on about anyway. But anyway, Charles Byrnes. You're frozen, Andrew.
Oh, I thought you were going on to it there. You went right. So Charles Byrnes. Right, go on.
Yeah, we saw the case, did we?
6 months suspended license taken off him for apparently an APC sedative found in Viking Horde who ran at Tramore in 2018. From what I read, APC sedative is a very strong sedative that was given to the horse just before the race between a 20 and 25 time period. But apparently Charles Byrnes and the son left unattended in the stable. So they don't know how it got into his system. Like, he drifted from 4s out to 8s. And he was laid for 35 grand. Tom will get onto all the Betfair side of things in a minute. He jumped off and just stopped, like he was after being shot before the 7th hurdle. So something happened.
Did you see the footage of him when he jumped off?
I was literally putting it on before I was writing all this, and I got distracted by stuff that was happening in the house with Robin and that, and I didn't get to see it.
I leave Tom talk about it more so, but like the amount of cheating that goes on is crazy. But the footage of the horse, like, he could barely even stand, to be honest. Now I might get to the 7th hurdle. He can barely stand. But there you go.
There's so many elements to this, and it can be, and I've different opinions on different elements of it. I suppose, where'd you start with the first one? The first one, when I first read it, they can't prove that Charles Byrnes gave the horse the sedative, right? They've no evidence of that whatsoever. So they've essentially, if you take it, and he's going to appeal, and this is why I feel he may be, I don't know if he'd be successful, but I think he's got half a chance, because they've essentially banned him for 6 months for leaving his horse unattended. Because they can't prove that he gave it to them. They've no evidence whatsoever. So they're literally saying, you shouldn't have left your horse unattended. You did so, and you've got banned for 6 months, which on the face of it doesn't sound right. Now, don't get me wrong, you scratch the surface of this case, it stinks. But yeah, I mean that's just the point. That's the bare facts of it. You have to be able to. It's like any crime or any alleged crime. You have to be able to prove it in a court of law or to the authorities. And I think that they're struggling to do so just because they've no evidence he gave it to them. That leads on to the next thing. That as soon as this came up, I was like, "Is there CCTV of the race courses?" And I've been to Tremor obviously many times, and then I got thinking about other courses, and I can't remember ever seeing CCTV. Turns out there's only CCTV at Leopardstown in Ireland. That's mental. How? Like, I just don't understand how. So
of all the stables.
Yeah. So the drill is when you go up to the stables. Now they're very tight. It's a tight run ship. Like you have to have your card. You have to have a runner that day. Your card, the barcode on your card gets scanned. You get given a wristband to get in and out. Like not anyone can just walk up and walk into the stables. That's not what's being alleged here at all. But how there isn't CCTV, at least on the entry and exit points, I don't know, but it's something that I would like to see the IHRB be proactive on now and say, right, okay, here's something that would really have helped us in this case because we could have seen exactly who went in and out of that stable. And if nobody else went in and out of that stable, then how did the sedative get into him? You know? So, okay, look, made a bit of a mess of things. And bearing in mind, this was 2 years ago. So we'll forgive them for the 2 years for not doing it already. Surely they now have to put CCTV into every Irish stable yard as a matter of priority. Like, that should be done in the next 2 months.
Yeah.
Every race course should have 2 months to be go and do it. They should be given the budget for it from central funds if they don't have the budget, and they should go and do it. It's not rocket science. It's CCTV at the house. Like, you know, it's not.
It's that day and age now where horses should have all the security they need, especially to negate anything like this happening or someone trying to work around doing it.
Yeah. So that's the first thing. That should be done now as a priority. This should never happen again. The next thing I suppose then to talk about is the sedative. He'd 100 times the normal dose in him, which is alarming. And it's alarming when you see the footage and to think that somebody went out and rode that horse. And you know, Kevin Blake made the point in his article, what if the horse fell? And what if the horse seriously injured Kevin Bruder, I think it was, who rode him, or worse? Like, what happens then? And the horse had been doped, and you know, it's shocking to think that somebody would do that. You would really hope that somebody connected to the horse wouldn't do that. It's just, it just really doesn't sit right. And then it leads on to the betting patterns. The bet was placed through a white label, which Andrew, me and you know what white labels are from work. A white label is effectively a company that you'll click on and you'll view their website, but the bet will be placed with another bookmaker. So in this case, you clicked on, you saw, say it was andrewtomandDave.com, and you saw you could lay the bet, and you clicked on to lay the bet, and it actually placed on the Betfair exchange. A lot of casinos operate this way. You'll go into casinos and see like $2 million bonus. Like, that's not just one casino, that's a group of casinos, and you bet into that pool. So that's quite common. I see Betfair have come out and said that you can no longer place a lay bet through a white label, which is a move. It doesn't sit right that you should have been able to in the first place, because you're trying to hide your identity if you're doing this, because it was placed through a third party as well. But luckily, it you can see who placed the bet. So I don't think you'll be able to see from that person's betting account if this person lays an average of 35 grand on 5 horses a week from different yards, okay, fair enough. You just got lucky. If they don't, then, more questions need to be asked about it. But what we need to do is we need to warn these people off. And I think we need to, there probably won't be too much legal standing behind it, but we need to go to bookmakers and betting exchanges and say, this person has been warned off from racing. Will you please reciprocate their ban and not take bets off them? Because we don't want people who are out there in this day and age who are willing to lay a horse to win $3,000 and risk 35 grand. And it just turns out, could all be coincidence, but just turns out it's been doped. We don't want those people betting on racing.
No. Especially if they have a hand to play in it.
Yeah, I mean, look, no evidence they had. Could have just got lucky. But if they did, you don't want those type of people around. No. It's hard to go and dig for more evidence, but it was suggested you can get in the police to take it to another further level. And I think, this is serious, lads. You can all laugh. Everyone can sit there and laugh a joke and say, sure, he's got one over, he's stopping one or whatever. But you're talking about doping a horse, asking someone to ride it in a race and then laying it to lose money. There's no evidence. There's no evidence that all of this did happen or all of this was done or people conspired to do this. But if the horse racing authorities in Ireland believe that is the case, I think that's a police investigation to go look into that further, definitely.
They're stopping a horse and then there's fucking drugging him up to the nines to make him look like he's had to go on 12 rounds of Mike Tyson and can barely walk onto the track, let alone run on the track. And then you're putting a jockey's health and safety into the equation then straight away. That becomes, for the lack of a better word, how can you call it? Not assault for all the world, but bodily harm. If you put him on a horse that's up like that, the horse has no condition to run to his merits. The horse has no condition to run full stop. So then that's more bloody shite that you bring into it. So how can they not, as you said, how can they not take this further? Where, as Kevin Blake said in his article, what happened if the horse fell? What happened if the horse fell and something happened to Kevin Broder? What happened if the horse fell and took down half the field? What happened if the horse just stopped dead in the middle of the track on a bend down in Shamor and takes out half the field? There's a lot of if, buts, and why nots, but this should be the kick up the hole for them to do, right, this zero tolerance. It should be zero tolerance anyway. Evidence, I know they went to the stables and they found no trace of APC in any of their medication for the horses in the stable. But how did they explain it got into it? They were himself and the son were the two people at the track with the horse. They left it for 20 to 25 minutes. I read that there was no one else going to be able to get to the horse unless they had inside information of who the horse was, where he was, and in what stable he was in. There's too much things connecting together to say they didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, well, as I say, there's no evidence to say they did, but you shouldn't get a 6-month ban for leaving your horse for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
If you go to the races on your own, which there was an article in the Irish Field about highlighting how difficult it is for trainers of limited strings and to get people to go to the races, and you often have to do the whole job by yourself. And you've got to go and drop the colours up. You've got to go and get the saddle off the jockey. You've got to go and get the colours then again afterwards. You've got to leave your horse. But on an Irish racecourse in 2021, you should be able to leave your horse and be confident that nobody's going to get in to do anything to it. And if they do, you're sure as hell going to know who they are because it's on CCTV.
Yeah.
This is the modern world we're living in. It's not hard steps to go and do this. So
it's the matter of putting a camera on the entrance, a camera down the bottom of the stables where you can see front and back of the stables and who's coming out and who's coming in. It's 2 cameras, a bit of wire.
You need to be able to see who's going into the stables. I feel you need a camera in the stable.
Yeah. It's not a bloody Ballydial bloody camera system you're looking for. It's just a Simple 2 or 3 cameras in the stables where you're covering the whole spectrum of the stables, where you can see the people clearly that are coming into the stable and clearly coming out. Or even put in a scanning system where they have to scan their card going into the gate and you know who's had to come in at X time.
Well, that's what they have. You have to scan your card going into the race, into the stable yard. So you know who's in there. It's just apparently you can't see what they're up to in there. But I've been in stable yards loads and loads and hundreds of times, and this kind of thing doesn't go on. I don't want people to think that everyone's going around like doping horses and stuff, or going into other people's horses. Like that doesn't go on. So I wouldn't be concerned about that. But you do need, for the odd one, the 1 in 1,000 times that something happens, you're going to need CCTV there. So as a matter of urgency, they should be doing that at least. So.
And once they know it's going to stop the people who are thinking of doing it right in their tracks, because they can't risk it.
Yeah, but it's also going to stop some excuses, because there's no one going to walk into a stable yard with dope or whatever you want to call it and give it to a horse. That's not, and that doesn't happen now. I'm telling you that much. Because your bag can get searched. They can come over and search your bag and stuff. So yeah, like that's not going to happen. But yeah, your excuse is gone then. At least it eliminates I left it for 25 minutes and someone must have got into it. Yeah. That excuse is gone then. So
because they'd be like, no, you weren't there. You're right there at X time. So you're bullshitting.
Yeah. Or we got a camera on the horse. Nobody went in or out to him. So
yeah. Right.
Anyway, moving on. But yeah, the appeal's going to be interesting, because on the face of it, they've suspended him for 6 months for leaving his horse alone, which everybody is guilty of that, I tell you. So,
which, if that is what they're trying to base it on, it'll be thrown out straight away.
Look, it's tough to preempt it, but it'll be interesting. I think if you got it to a court of law, you'd struggle. So.
Yeah. Right, moving on to matters at hand for the weekend. Ascot, Haydock, and then we're off to Thurles on Sunday. We'll start with the card at Ascot with 4 races from there. We'll start with Ascot 115, the Matchbook Betting Podcast Mares. Grade 2 hurdle. The top 2 in the betting are Roxana and Magical Light, and then there's bigger prices at the bottom. Dave, starting with you. Roxana, look, it's no secret that we didn't think much for her, but she's after taking her form to a new level this year. Like, she beat Next Destination 8.5 lengths in the grade 2. He's had to come out and win his first 2 chases of grade 2s. And she was 2 lengths behind Paisley Park and Time Hill. Surely she wins this, really, does she?
Yeah, well, you'd expect her to win it. The other fillies, I wouldn't be up to her standard if she runs to that kind of grade 1 standard, but I wouldn't be backing her at the price she is, just because filly mares tend to throw in a wobbler every now and again, so it's hard to predict what they're going to do. But on all known form, she'd win, but she wouldn't be my idea of a bet the weekend. But you'd expect her to win.
Tom, she's form on all kinds of ground. Her last run was on heavy ground behind Paisley Park and Time Hill. I know Magical Light is form on as well, but this is kind of a long-term prep towards the national. And then you have Defi Du Seuil, who needs to find another leg to get close to Roxana on all known form. So what's your thinking behind it?
Look, in my book, lads, Roxana hates winning races. Before she won at Wetherby, when everything just fell right for her, she was fresh. A lot of the horses didn't run their race or really needed the race. Before that, the last race she'd won was the race at Cheltenham, where Benny Deju fell and Roxana was left in front, and she swished her tail. She hung around the place. And she's been placed a heap of times other than that. But look, the third behind Paisley Park obviously reads well, but for Jesus Christ, I've just seen the betting. I thought, Jesus, she was 5-4 when I looked at this earlier.
She's like 8-13 on now.
5-6, yeah. 8-13 in the place.
Jesus, that's awful. And that's convinced me even more. I'm actually probably going to back Magic of Light. I just think she's a horse who does like winning. There's no doubt about that. She needed her first run back quite clearly. Yeah. She's then gone over and won well at Newbury. She's got a very good record going to the UK, this horse. She's had 2 runs at Ascot. She's won both of them. She's won on heavy ground at Ascot. She's run to the same kind of level as Roxana has done before. Yeah, she obviously loves going to the UK. She doesn't mind winning. She's 11-4. And Roxana is, I think you can get 4-5. So that's a no-brainer for me at those odds, definitely.
Yeah, I 100% agree. But I hate Roxana. As you said, she's a bit of a bitch, really. As you say, when Benny fell, she did everything in her power to try to stop winning. It was only that Dan Skelton practically carried her over the line. When she won it at Haydock, beating Next Destination, as you said, everything came in, was played to her strengths. She was probably flattered how close she was to Paisley Park and Time Hill last time. Magic Light is the one I was looking at as the alternative. But then White Hot Chili Filly, she won a listed race last time out at Sandown, beating Stormy Ireland, who was not half the horse she was when she was in Ireland. But look, I'm not going to back in this, but this is my kind of angle into it. She's won on heavy ground at Sandown. Heavy ground at Sandown is absolutely atrocious, bottomless, and the same can be said at Ascot. She's a tough filly. She keeps finding off the bridle. I think she'd be there at the end, keeping going. She's a big price. She's 8-1. I'd rather have her at 8-1 now than Eglantine Desai at 11-4. So if I was having a small bet, I'd have a small at €5-10 on White Hot Chili Filly. Just for the crack, really. But there's nothing really in it that I fancy. Magical Light, as you said, perfect record at Ascot. Loves travelling, likes winning. I think it's between herself and Red Hot Chili Filly. I don't like Roxana. If she wins, fair play to her. She's after maturing a bit if she does, but she's 9-year-old now. Can't really have her. But yeah, look, it's a no-bet race for me. But White Hot Chili... What was it, White? White Hot Chili Filly at 8-1. I'd have a little stab at her. But it's one of them races you just go, don't like this. Right, enough.
I like it. I'm happy with Magic of Light. I think it should be hard enough to beat, to be honest.
She probably win on unknown form. Now this is the race we get stuck into. Ascot 150. The matchbook better way to bet. It's a bloody grade 3 hurdle. I'm not reading all this shit out. It's a handicap hurdle over 2 miles, 3.5 furlongs. We have
Andrew, the matchbook better way to bet. Holloway's handicap hurdle.
The reason I'm not saying it, Tom, they don't sponsor us, so I don't give a fuck what it's called.
I was just going to say the matchbook got our license suspended for a few months for laying a few bets. Better way to bet Holloway's handicap hurdle.
Oh shit! That's another bloody ghost accounts. Right. We had the field is Benson in a 5-1, Danny Cowan a 6, lightly squeezed 7s, Janica at 9s, Albert's back 10s, Kate's, this is off William Hill now, so prices are probably all over the place. Don DeFont 10s, and 12-1, bigger rest. Tom, these are races you like get stuck into. What's Tom's pick for this?
Yeah, it's kind of terrible now. I'm sticking with Benson. He's 5-1. It's not too bad of a price. It's been a terrific form this year. 4th last time out there, not beaten far at Ascot behind Not So Sleepy. Step up in trip, I think, is going to help him definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing him at 2.5 miles. Goes on heavy ground off the same mark as last day. Yeah, he'll do for me.
Dave?
Yeah, I like Benson. He was flying at the end of last day against one of my favourite, Not So Sleepy. Love him. I backed him for the Champion Hurdle, would you believe that?
No, you didn't.
I did, yeah.
Christ.
40-1, why not?
Be okay. And take out Epicamp the first and we all be laughing.
I think he's the right favourite. He's a good price, so be interested in him. And with Gary Moore stable in good form again, I would give Botox has one more chance at 25-1. It's a good each way price.
He is your proverbial cliff horse.
I like him.
You're hanging on to his coattails now. I do appreciate it.
I like these races. There's always something at a big price. I was looking at him and Nordano. Nordano won a big handicap at Ascot as well last year. So I think there's good prices to be found, but Benson's a worthy favourite.
Yeah, I think Benson is still ahead of his mark. I don't know what the hell happened to him last time. He got outpaced a long way out and he absolutely flew home. As Tom said, step up and trip is surely going to suit him. I don't know whether you be flattered by what we've seen or just to take in face value that he was just outpaced and ran on like a train. Like he was 3 from 3 before that this season. Very talented horse. 5-1, yeah, not a bad look, when you take in consideration that he probably is well above this mark, which I think is above this mark still, because the races he's won them really well, and there's decent horses in behind him. Lightly Squeeze finished in front from last time out. There's a 3 pound swing for that. But he still has to find 3 lengths with him. But I think the step up and triple suit him as well. Danny Carwin, I just never liked the horse. Can't take him. He was a typical Nichols hype horse, but he hasn't lived up to it at all. Arrivederci, I backed him the first time he won. I backed him when he fell, and I was like, right, he was going to win that day. He's thrown an absolute stinker the last day, but you'd be kind of willing to forgive that. John Joe O'Neill's horses are flying this season. 8-1 is a bit short though. If you want to trust that the last run was kind of not all that it was. But another one who I think this race is kind of going to run to suit is Don's Levant for Evan Williams. Isabel is on taking 5 pounds off him. He needs to find a bit with ratings and so on and so forth. He's 12-1. He won last time out, just doing enough to get up at the finish. So I think this race is going to be round to suit. I think he could be picking up the pieces at the end for a place at least. But getting back to the selection, that Benson. I think Benson is ahead of his mark. As Tom said, it's step up to 2.5 miles. It's going to be right up the street. It's not like the fourth was, this fella's well handicapped. Well, I think he's well handicapped, but it's not like he was not showing form before this. He was 3 from 3 before. It was a very good race. Not so sleepy. Decided to be awake that day. Ran him ragged. I think he just got left dead for pace at a crucial stage. Flew home. I'd step up to 2.5 miles. And 5-1's a fair price for what he is. He'd be one of my strong bets for the weekend. And maybe Don's the fun for anyone each way. I think he'll run a good race. Oh, Jesus Christ. I forgot to breathe there. Right, moving on. 3 o'clock. The Bet365 handicap chase. 1 second, I get the betting. Benny's King 5-1. Goodbye Bobby 5s. Dashel Drasher 6s. Caplan 7s. Windsor Avenue 7. Esprit de Guy 8s. Jenikins in this as well. Earl of the Cotswold is 10s. Another quick 10s and 12-1. Big of the rest. Dave, take it away.
Dashel Drasher.
Good lad.
Simple as. But it has to lead. If they try and hold him up again, he hasn't a hope. Just do what he did the last day in the 3-runner race. Or what he did last year. He pulls the reins out from the jockey if they try and hold him up. So just leave him go off and do his thing and hope for the best. But I think he'll win, to be honest. I think 6-1 is a great price. 7-1.
What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I'm rowing in with Dashel Drasher. A bit of a minefield of a race, to be honest. He's up to 152, which is a high enough mark. But he's won at Ascot on his 2 starts there. 1 over hurdles, 1 over fences. He's gone on heavy ground. Yeah, I agree with Dave. Like we liked him after last season, and we were quite keen on him for his first run at Haydock, but it just all went to pieces. He was just way too keen. He acted a right idiot, but he was just way too fresh that day, I think. He's gone on and he's beat Itchy Feet well, and that Caribbean Boy the next day. So I think that's pretty good form. And happy enough to take a chance on him. Again, like he's a bit like Benson. He's towards the head of the market, but 6-7 to 1 is decent enough.
This is getting boring. This is another agree. I really like him.
He's got no chance there.
Yeah. Look, I backed him 3 times last season. I backed him twice already this season. He's another one who I think has another bit of improvement in him. Just let him bowl along at the front. He beat Itchy Feet and Caribbean Boy last time out. He turned in the last time at Ascot, and he looked like that Itchy Feet was going to get to him. But the second he heard him coming, he went on again, and I looked at hard race. That was my only kind of thing in my head. But look, it's been a full-on month since his last run, but he's plenty of time to get over it. Very talented horse. Look, he's 3.5 lengths behind Champ at as a Haydock Newbury last season, 3.5 lengths behind him, and then he was running another good race behind him before he fell. Then he went on and beat a good field by a good 17 lengths. Look, I think he probably needed the first run this season. He wasn't seen at all in the betting last time and won very well. I think 6 to 1 is a decent price, and I think he will go off favourite at least. There's another one who caught my eye with a run over hurdles the last time. Was another crick for Noel Williams. It was his first run for 654 days. Paddy Bren was on him. Travelled lovely through the race. Looked like he was going there coming to win, and just looked like a horse that needed a run, which he probably did after that length of time. He won his last chase at Kempton by 13 lengths. Very, very easy. I went back and looked at it today. He beat a horse called Damebridge, who used to be trained by Arthur Moore, I think by 13 lengths, literally on the bridle. He's up £10 for that. I think this was the plan with the prep run over hurdles. He's 10 to 1. I think that's a fair bet with him. He's going to be fresh enough for the age that he is with little racing he's done. He could be one to put it up to Dasher Drasher. But Dasher Drasher's the main bet was another crick to follow him home. Anything at a bigger price that G fancy? Or we'll give a shout. No. Moving on to the next one. Probably the race of the weekend. The Clarence House Chase at Ascot. Grade 1, 2 mile, 1 furlong. We have betting. Come on. Anytime today. Politologue 6 to 5. Waiting patiently 5 to 2. Defi Du Seuil at 7s. Duke de Geneva at 10s. Fenian Destraval at 10s. First Flow 10s. Mondorn 25s. The Patriot 50s. And Benatar 66 to 1. Does the Politologue, the big lovely grey, wins again? Dave.
There's only 2 outcomes to this race, and I reckon Tom is going to bet on the second one. The first one is Politologue wins and wins well like he did the last day. The second one is Defi Du Seuil comes back to form and beats Politologue. They're the only 2 horses in the race that are good enough to win it. The rest of them are not good enough, or are handicappers. Waiting patiently is a spoofer. And going from 3 miles to 2 miles makes no sense. They don't know what kind of trip he wants. They don't even know what kind of horse he is, to be honest.
I agree. I think like they're stepping him up to 3 miles, drop him back to 2 miles.
They don't know what to do.
Step him back up to 2.5 miles. He still finished second or third.
On all known form, Politologue will win. But
don't be button with Defi.
Defi is an enigma because last year he bet Politologue in the Schlur Chase, and then he won 2 grade 1s over 2 miles, and then he just decided he doesn't want to race anymore. But he also did that the year that he was champion hurdle bound. So you just don't know what you're going to get with him. If he comes back to form, I could see him then beating Politologue. But it's only one of 2 things. The most likely thing is to back Politologue at 5 to 4, 6 to 4, and have a decent bet in it, because on all known form he's getting better, and he's the horse that won the grade 1 the last time. But Defi worries me. I personally wouldn't weigh in big with Politologue, because Defi does actually worry me. It wouldn't surprise me to see him pulled up after 4 fences. It wouldn't surprise me to see him to jump to the front at the last and do his little quick feet, little burst of speed away and win by a couple of lengths. So, but they're the only 2 who have any chance in the race.
Defi Du Seuil will be moving slower than you by the time he gets down the back straight.
That's pretty slow right now, to be honest.
Right, Tom, make a case for him.
Look, I got this down. I went through the races early and I wrote my selections down. And this was a race I didn't write a selection down for. I think it's a minefield. It's one I won't be having a bet in. Dave was saying a few outcomes he can see there. I can see Defi Du Seuil winning, or I can see him pulling them up. I can see waiting patiently, finally getting his head in front, staying on if they go too much of a gallop in front on soft ground. I can also see waiting patiently, getting outpaced and running on like hell and getting second. And then I can see Politologue just going from the front and winning, really. You've got Duke de Ginevra. Why do I always bring
that? Always bothers you, that name.
I always bring it up, and I can't say his name. Him anyway.
Himself.
He wouldn't shock you to finish a close third. Look, it's a sit on the fence job for me, I'm afraid, guys. But you'll enjoy this race anyway without having a bet in it. But I wouldn't be surprised. Like Dave's right, and I've said this about Defi before. Like he's well able over 2 miles, especially on soft ground. And it wouldn't surprise me to see him win. Philip Hobbs's horses are in pretty good form now. It wouldn't surprise me.
He had a double today, but I guarantee you, 5 minutes before the race on Saturday, Andrew, text comes in, Defi is 4-1 on the exchange. I'm having some of that. I guarantee you.
He's not. Yeah, look, we know, guys, it's price dependent. If you're going to give me 4 or 5 to 1, if you give me 5 to 1, Defi, I'd back him. Yeah, I think he should be short than that. Definitely.
Well, I think he's not far off enough because he got the drifting from 5 to 2 out to 7 to 2 already.
Is he? What is he in here? Yeah, 7 to 2.
The way I
don't think he will, but if he hit 5 to 1 on the exchange or 9 to 2, I'd have a small bet on him at that price. Yeah.
Right, this is the way I see this playing out. I see Duke de Ginevra going off like the clappers. Politologue will get nice tone to the race. He'll have the rest of them rowing away behind him. Defi Du Seuil will be 3 fences behind him. Dickie be after getting off and taking the reins out over his head. Come on, lad, we'll put you away back over hurdles. Stayers hurdle, here we come.
Stayers hurdle. Oh, fuck.
He's not a 2-miler.
There's more. Oh, gee, we're not getting into this again.
Was I proven right?
We are not doing this again. No.
We are. Look, he's a very, very good horse. He's grade 1 winner over 2 miles, beating a pensioner twice. Okay. There is nothing in my mind that tells me Defi Du Seuil is going to win this. Look, 7 to 2 on what he's won last year against Underso, who is now retired.
You're going to say the same thing if he wins at the weekend. He'll be a 3-time grade 1 winner over 2 miles, and you'll be going,
if he wins on Saturday, well, fair play to him. Hold my hands up and say I was wrong. Like I always do.
But surely this is the weakest grade 2 he's running.
No, because I think Politologue is a much better horse this season. A lot better than he was last year. He look, there's no two ways about it. He got beat by Defi Du Seuil last season. He got battered in him. Then Politologue turned the form around and battered him. Why is everyone saying that Politologue that was a fluke and Defi, he wasn't himself? But Defi's come out now and not being himself again. And it's not like he hasn't done it before. As Dave said, in this hurdle season where he's going to be campaigns as champion hurdler, he done the same thing. He spit the dummies out of the pram, thrown all his ties out and went, I'm not having this. What's to say he's not a safe bet. He doesn't deserve all this hype around him he's a superstar. He's not a superstar. He's too many quirks in him to be a superstar.
On his day, he's very good.
On his day, he's very good. But how many good days does he have these days?
He's run 2 bad races.
Jesus Christ, someone talk.
Johnson had an interview today because of the couple of winners he had there at Newbury. And he interviewed today and they were talking about Defi. And he literally said they just don't know why he doesn't run well. They bring him home, nothing comes to light. They give him a few weeks off. He comes back into the training yard looks like he's doing the same again, and he can literally either run to Grade 1 standard or do what he did and just pull up again. He literally said there's nothing has ever come to light. The 2 seasons or the few times he's done it, just it's pure. He's an enigma. It's just like he just doesn't want to race. Like,
right, if I'm looking at this without the I don't like Defi Du Seuil. I just can't get in my head why he's around 2 miles, even though he's one of the great ones. Looking at it like that, it's a 2-horse race. It's Politologue and Defi Du Seuil. If Defi Du Seuil turns up in the form he was last year, he'll give Politologue one hell of a scare. I still think Politologue is a better horse this year. Whatever they've done with him, changed how they rid him at home, the way they ride him in the races. He's not a flashy 2-mile chaser. He grinds it out. He's a good jumper. He rarely makes a mistake. Defi Du Seuil is a dodgy jumper, and he's very slow getting away from his fences. That's my quabble about him. Is the getting away, the landing on all fours. He loses so much momentum. That's why I think step him up and trip. His best performance, arguably, was when he won the JLT. Was it JLT or Ryanair he won?
Yeah, the JLT, yeah.
JLT. That was arguably his best performance because he has the kick at the end and he stays. I think 2 miles, proper horses against him, he gets found out. But look, there's not just, and when you look at this, it's not really proper 2-mile horses. You have Champion Chase winner, that's about it. You wait patiently, who's arguably the most tripless horse walking God's green earth because you run him over 2 miles, 2.5 miles, 3 miles, never wins. Duke to Geneva and make the run. Finian Deschanel shouldn't win this, but who knows? First Flow, he's a bit of a head case. The ones don't lie, but he has to step up on everything he's done so far. Look, to me, Politologue wins it, and he wins it by a good 2-3 lengths. You don't know what you're going to get with Defi Du Seuil. I couldn't advise anyone to back that joke. You couldn't on the back of what he does. Bombed out a 2-5 on the Champion Chase, bombed out in his comeback. How can you tell someone to back that? I know it's price dependent. I know when he gets to 5-1, you think, that's worth a bet.
If he's 5-1 and Politologue is 5-4, he's worth a small few quid of your money at 5-1 because there's a chance he could go and beat him.
Yeah, there is. Like, he's beaten him before. There's nothing to say you can't beat him again.
Anyway, I think we're getting way too wound up about a race that I don't really care about anyway, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not Cheltenham. We save that for Cheltenham.
It's just too much of a minefield of, it's going to be an enjoyable race to watch. I wouldn't go steaming into anything here.
No. Okay, yeah.
Too many ifs and maybes.
Yeah. But look, on all no form, Politologue should win it. On this season's form that he's in and the health and wealth and everything else, he should win. But anyway, moving on to the 130 at Haydock. Give me 2 seconds. 130 at Haydock. It's a Supreme Novice Trial and everything, bar name. This is not. No one in this is going to win Supreme Novice Hurdle. We have Clembano Lad. Did I get it right there?
Clendenabo Lad.
Clendenabo. I was close enough. Clendenabo Lad is 7-4. Manila Drama is 3s. Volvaire, I think that's how you say it, is 5s. Nada to Parada is 5s. Time flies by 6s and 10-1 bigger the rest. This is another just look to me. Clendenabo Lad should win this on all known form. Tom.
Yeah. Clendenabo Lad for me is I've just seen the prices of 2-1. I know it's another favourite. I know he's 2-1, but hammered Manila Drama earlier this year. And yeah, I can't look. I know there's a little bit of a weight reverse there, but
he stepped up on that form since then. And
that last form behind my Dragodo is very good as well. Lost little in defeat there, and look, I think he'll win this definitely. I think.
What do you think, Dave?
Nada to Prada for me.
Really? You love a Michael Scudamore horse.
Yeah, she's a decent filly. She won well the last day. I think giving her £7 would be a big task, and I actually do like that Clendenabo Lad, but he needs to step up and trip.
Yeah, Haydock on heavy ground, though. That should do the
Haydock
job.
heavy ground, he's won there already, but he needs to step up and trip. He's a 3-miler waiting to happen.
He'll surely get away with a heavy ground around Haydock. There'll be at least 2.5 miles to be trying to run.
Nah, the Deprav's already won heavy ground around Haydock as well.
I read today that Tom Simmons and David Dennis's venture together is over already.
Who?
Tom Simmons and David Dennis. David Dennis left his old yard, handed in his license, and was assistant to Tom Simmons. But I don't read in between the lines. It's obviously not working out. Normally a difficult situation when, you know, you've got two people who've got different ideas on training, try and train together. I know I've experienced that myself. You know, with people, you'll have different opinions on what horses should be doing or what races horses should be running in, and it's not the easiest thing to do. So it's not too well. It is a little bit surprising it's over already because they've had such great success. But I think Dave's going on to get another yard for himself. So best of luck to him.
If it's not working, just get out. So, there's no point wasting your time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Next one is the Peter Marsh Chase over 3 miles, 1.5 furlong, Haydock, 240. We've Royal Pagoi 3-1, Sam Brown at 5s, Captain Noor at 5s, Sam's Adventure 7s, Perfect Candidate 10s, Le Manver Pippin 10s, AC Milan 10s, Potter the Legend 10s, and 12-1, Big Arrest. Tom, take us away with this. Who's the one that stands out for you in this?
I love Sam Brown. I put him up there last year at Linkfield, and he duly did the business. And then again at Haydock, comes back to Haydock again, soft ground. I think he definitely wants it. He's my selection. Royal Pagoi is the obvious one against him. Nothing against Royal Pagoi at all. It was a toss-up between the two, but yeah, I'll go for Sam Brown.
Who are you going for, Dave?
When a horse wins a race like Royal Pagoi did at Kempton the last day, I'm not willing to take him on until he loses. So, him.
That was quick.
That one.
That one. Look,
and his form got a boost as well because the Tom George horse won around Kempton the next race then. So,
yeah.
And they were miles clear. They were literally miles clear.
Yeah, like, I really like Royal Pagoi. Put him up as my anti-post bet for the 4-miler or the National Hunt Chase, whatever it's called these days. He won at Kempton off 140. He's up to 156. Do I think he would have won off 156 around Kempton? Yeah. Going on what I saw, yeah, of course he would have. He's 156 today. He's 2 from 2 over fences. Phoenicia Williams really likes him. He's on the mark of 156 going into this, though. The last horse to win something like this, like the one I was watching back, I was actually writing on this, and I had Racing UK on. They had the replays of previous Peter Marsh chases, and the one that I actually stopped to look at was when Bristol Le Moy won it. He won that off 154, and he won it doing a hat canter. Do I think Royal Pagoi now is as good as Bristol Le Moy was then? I don't think he's far off it, and that's my honest opinion. What I saw at Kempton, what I saw at, I think it was at Newbury as first run, just double check, at Haydock, screams to me a graded horse out and out. No horse travels through a race like that and can be that way. He was so well handicapped, it wasn't even funny. I think 156, he's still above his mark. I know 3-1 is short in the race like this, but the way he travels, the way he's so economical over his fences, he goes on the ground. He's won at Haydock. 3 miles is right up the street. I think it's going to take one hell of a performance to beat this lad. To me, he gets through this unscathed. He wins the National Hunt Chase. I think this fella has absolutely oodles of class. Like, it's not a coincidence that it's owned by Rich Ritchie. He has what I think this is his only horse left in training in England. He had one with Nicky Henderson, but he ended up being choice. I think this lad is Very, very, very good. And I think he's going to take a hell of a lot of beating on Saturday. He's my idea probably of the nap of the weekend. Like Captain Orr was behind him at Haydock. There's a huge swing in the weights, and there was 3.25 lengths doing it, but right, the guy was doing half speed and getting knees down after jumping the last. And as Dave said, Double Shuffle is after coming out and winning a handicap around Kempton again. The form is there. Like the form is the first race he won at Haydock. He beat Esport, the Romane, Redford Road. They were all well. He was 11-1 in the bet, and he wasn't fancied at all. And he just travels through a race so easily, like a very, very, very good horse. I'm advocating to this fella a lot, and I think Saturday he's going to win. He's probably my nap of the weekend. I think he's going to win and win easy. It's my case for that. Samus Ventures won each way, who I actually looked at the other day. I was watching his race back. He's won. He's kind of in and out, but he's low in the weights, and he's about 12-1. I think he's worth an each way bet. He goes on the ground, lowest extreme distances. So Royal Pagani though, just he's the one for me. Right, Haydock 315. The return of the dual champion champion hurdle winner, Bouvardere. Tom, Bouvardere's back. He's going against Ballyandy, Song for Someone, who really improved this season. Navajo Pass and Ribble Valley. Bouvardere is getting weight off everything bar Ribble Valley. It'll be a massive disappointment if he doesn't come back and win this, would it?
How would you price this up, lads? Who would you have as favourite?
That's you'd have to have Bouvardere as favourite, wouldn't you?
I just seen the betting and I'm shocked, to be honest with you.
Don't tell me. The reason I'd have him as favourite, it wasn't a muscle injury or a bone injury or anything like that he was out for. It was because he got stabbed practically in the toe. It's not like his muscles have been injured. It's not like he's going to have a recurrent like tissue problem or anything. It was just literally he got stabbed in the foot and needed time to get over it. If he's he's not, I doubt he's going to be 100% fit. He's going to be fit enough to do himself a lot of justice in this. He runs well fresh. If the old Bouvardere turns up, he whoops these getting all that weight.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to find it very hard to give him. What, they got to give him £6. Yeah, well, the Song for Someone, who is the other one, the realistic chance. Apart from Ballyandy, who has also got to give him £6, and by God, you'd be disappointed if Bouvardere couldn't beat Ballyandy. Look, yeah, I think it'd take the world to beat, and I thought he'd be maybe a shade of odds on. He's 5-4, and yeah, he's 5-4, and he's 5-4 joint favourite with Song for Someone with Paddy Power.
Okay, I just changed my nap of the weekend.
It's just prices just stand out to be wrong, and I think that's wrong. Nicky said he bought him away for a piece of work, and he said it was brilliant. Now, look, we'll take Nicky with a little pinch of salt, but still, at least we know he's been away for a gallop. As you said, Andrew, he was only off because he got a tree stuck in his foot, basically. And by the sound of it, they had to remove a lot of his hoof. And that's just a time thing. You just have to wait for it to grow back. It's like removing a nail or something. If you get something stuck in it, it's literally just a time issue. He goes very well fresh. He's won on nearly every start fresh, apart from last season. He's won at Haydock. He's won on soft ground. I've no issues against him, really. Nicky's in great form. I just don't see why, especially getting weight, I don't see why he'd be beaten at all. And just a little link there, his dam is called History. And enjoyed watching a bit of history being made in the US this afternoon. Joe Biden being inaugurated as the president of the United States.
What are you shaking your head for?
Fantastic to see. Now, it's fantastic to see normality restored. And sane minds taking office.
Like, I went to do the shopping today with Kate, and we went at 3 o'clock. I have to be back for 4. I have to be back for 4 to see this. She sat down at 4 o'clock. I had to put away all the shopping, make the dinner for the kids, make the dinner for us, light the fires, put the kids to bed. Well, put Robin to bed. She's still in front of the bloody thing watching. I was walking out.
You're lucky, pal. I was sat down at 3:20 watching it, and Siobhan has just turned it off, and I'm wondering, have I missed the concert for tonight? Because it's got a great line. Can't wait to go back and watch it.
The man will be talking, and it's like he has a stroke in the middle of talking. Like,
at least he doesn't tell people to go and fucking riot. Like, you know, we need people like that should not hold off.
Do you know what I said? Do you know what I said today, Andrew, to someone? Do you know Donald Trump is the only American president, and like God knows how many since probably we were alive, that hasn't started a war with someone. And I guarantee you, in 6 months' time, America will be after invading someone else again. Watch this space.
He just started a civil war. That's all. He just turned. He just
turned the whole America against each other.
He turned his own people on each other. Yeah, that's way better, Donald. Well done, Pat.
I get people not liking Donald Trump. Like a fella that's not even able to talk is no president. Like
he gave a bloody good speech today, did Joe.
You know what? The majority of people that watch this are Irish and English. We have enough problems of our own with the governments we have, so.
We do. But this is the point, Dave, as well. Like the likes of we have, like, we all have issues with governments, and like Boris isn't far bloody off. Well, to be fair, he's not Donald Trump, but he's got his own mind. But you know, like, politics is politics. But I would trust any politician in Ireland anyway. Maybe we'll exclude the Healy Rays, but they're not lunatics. Like I was going to say to you, I've met Mary Lou McDonald, and I met her when we were out canvassing, and I stood up and had a conversation with her for about 15 minutes, and she's a perfectly normal person. Like, I disagree with her completely political wise, I imagine, but as a person, she's perfectly normal. Donald Trump is not a perfectly normal person.
Hey, bit touched. God bless him.
You can disagree on politics. That's one thing, but he's a danger, lads. And thank God he's gone. Good riddance to him.
So, Dave, does Bouvardere win?
Yeah, Bouvardere win. I'm not even spending time on this now, to be honest.
Fight the Four is absolutely ridiculous price.
Dave wants to get gone to watch the rest of the inauguration concert. Justin Timberlake's playing.
Go, Joe!
What I don't understand is, like, obviously there's a connection between America and probably the whole world, but the issues that we have here in Ireland with, like, the mother and baby homes, the shambles they've made of the coronavirus thing, and then people are more worried about what's going on in America. To be honest, I don't understand that, but it is what it is.
Just takes your mind away from all the shite that's going on over here.
I suppose, yeah, but you'd be more inclined to worry about what's outside your door, really, than that's what's 5,000 miles away and all that. Like, but as I said, it is what it is.
It's better to listen to the same shite we listen to every day. 6,000 cases. Oh, look, 12 dead. Percentages.
That's Dr. Death. He'd have us locked up forever if he could. He's like something out of a horror film, to be honest.
We're not getting into a political podcast now, because this will go on for ages, and we would never agree. Like, we might not agree about Defi Du Seuil and Politologue, but we get onto politics in this country. We'll be here at 5 o'clock in the morning still going.
No, it's the TOV. I'll be gone well home to TOV still at.
Doctor, that's not even politics. He's just a fucking idiot.
Right, Bouvardere wins this. Moving on. Sick of politics. Last one we're going to cover is a horse and jockey hotel chase. Grade 2 over 2 mile 4 at 3 o'clock on Thurles. Oh, phone work. There's no Tom. Do you get betting for this? Can't get betting anywhere for it.
No, I haven't seen any betting for this.
So the horses anywhere. Battle over Dorian, Backerson, easy game. Acapulco Bourgeois, Alho, Animix, Arctic Skipper, Balco the Flow, 2A Permi, Ellie May, 5 after midnight, Shadow Love, and Turn Down the Volume. Tom, hard to pick out of it right now because we don't know who's actually running and we've no betting guy, but if they were to turn up, hypothetically, who would you land on?
Yeah, it's tough enough. Backerson normally does well in these type of races. Alho Allaho is the obvious standout there, isn't he? And you'd probably be a little bit disappointed if Allaho didn't win this. If he was to turn up, the one I was going to stick the pin in though is another Willie Mullins horse, Animix. Just think the step up and trip again from the last day to 2.5 mile will probably suit him. That was his first run in a Grade 1, and he far from disgraced himself. He was 4th behind Chacun Pessoa. He's beaten 17 lengths. Before that, he bolted up at Gurren, and that was over 2 mile 4 on heavy ground. And he's a very lightly raced horse who was really highly regarded. And yeah, I just think he might run well in this. Depends what turns up, but might be a little bit of a price as well.
Yeah, he was staying on at the finish there.
Yeah, I think this trip will suit him. So,
Dave, who do you think?
I tell you, there's a few dopes in this race now. Oh, and I seen the entries for this. I was like, Battle Over Dying, the most soft horse in training. Easy Game, the biggest spoofer. He just never wins when you expect him to win. Acapella Bourgeois, he is Album Photo's pacemaker, so he's not going to win.
Yeah, he's both pacemaker. Yeah.
Allaho, the most excused horse in training. Oh, the trip didn't suit him. Oh, he had a cold. Oh, the trip didn't suit him. Oh, Manel Indo bet him again. He's a dope of a horse.
Only by Andrew, to be fair.
Animix, another talking horse for years that never stood up to the standard. Back out of flow, his career was gone when he won the Ryanair.
By the way you're going now, there's nothing going to win this. They're all going to either fall or get pulled up the first.
Dave's going to get skipper.
He's over hurdles 1 week, and then he's back over fences, and then he's back, and he never wins. Ellie May is probably the only horse that I even like in the race, and she's probably not good enough to win it, but if she ran in it, I'd probably back her, because the rest of them are spoofers and loads of them are soft. And the one thing about Ellie May is she'll battle if she gets into a battle.
And she got out battled by the biggest bitch ever.
She's a good jumper too.
She got out battled by bloody what's his name?
Literally the biggest spoofer in the.
He is the biggest spoofer on God's green earth.
That was an unbelievable ride from Townend. I think Townend was on it. Unbelievable ride. The one I didn't mention actually was Backison, and Tom was right. He tends to win these kind of Grade 2s and Grade 3s, and you can almost kind of depend that he'll at least run his race. The rest of them, much of a muchness. Look,
this boils down to if Allaho turns up, he wins it. There's no two ways about it. He's much better than the rest of this field.
He won't. I guarantee he won't.
What are you going to say when he gets beat?
There's no more excuses left when he gets beat. There's none.
Oh, if he gets beat, there's no excuse. This is if he has any hope in hell of winning the Cheltenham, he has to win this.
Which he doesn't.
He's getting weight and everything in this. He should be able to carry 10 pounds and give them all a beat. And he's not. He won't. If he's declared and he's racing, he won't win. There'll be another excuse.
If he turns up and he don't win, I will give him no excuses whatsoever. Everything is there for him to win. If he doesn't win, then there's nothing I can say. He didn't win. He's not as good as I thought he was. But if he does, I'd hold on to hope that he'll win the Ryanair. But look, if he doesn't turn up, as he said, Backison is the horse that kind of takes these races during the season and then falls away at the big festivals. Easy Game. I got my money up from the start of the season. He's not going to win again. Acapella Bourgeois is the one that's going to make Bryony and Frolan cry at Cheltenham. So I kind of he's coming a little place in my heart now. I kind of like him. I'm getting built up to him now.
He's the pacemaker. It's like watching the flat races with the Godolphin and the Aidan O'Brien horses. What's going to happen? Give a pacemaker, and then at least we'll get a decent race. Love it.
He's going to be Frankel's bullet train.
Yeah,
that's what he's going to be.
He's now Album Photo's pacemaker. That's all he is like.
He'll go off like the clappers for 2.5 miles, and Bryony be running around there looking bloody. How does she ride like that? By the way. She'd be looking at the withers the whole time. Anyway. Orby. Ah, Corby.
You know what? I'm not even going to say it.
You're starting it now. You have to say it.
No.
You have to.
No.
It's the finishing line way.
No.
Dave doesn't want to give. Dave doesn't want to give any money away in a court case.
Yeah, I'm not giving any money away either. I don't have much at the moment.
Right, Nap's the next best. Let's go for it. Dave, Nap, next best each way if you want.
Nap is Royal Pagoi, and next best is Bouvardier, and I suppose Dashel Drasher is an each way price, 6-1. But there's a lot of good bets this weekend. But I also said that this very weekend last year as well, because I put up a double, I think, and it never worked out. To be honest,
they're dead. Tom, yourself?
My Nap is going to be Benson, and my next best at the prices is Magical Light.
There's a few I really like this weekend. This could be either a very good weekend or a very, very bad weekend.
That's what I'm saying to you.
Like you have Benson, you have Dashel Drash, you have Bouvardier, you have Royal Pagoi. You have a few. But my Nap would have to be Royal Pagoi. It's the same as Dave's, but look, Bouvardier as well, the next best. I do an each way double with Dashel Drasher and Benson.
Oh, what could go wrong?
I can see a Trixie.
By the end of this week now, we could have the money to start these little rants we want next week.
I can see a Trixie and a Lucky 15 and everything coming in this weekend, but then it could be gone after the first race. So.
Well, look, we live in hope.
My mother just texted me as this was on. This is funny. It's she shared me a link of an article Johnny Ward has written, and the title on the article from Johnny is "At Tremor, an unknown human being did a despicable thing to an innocent animal."
Oh wow, that's well,
very tongue in cheek from Johnny Ward there, I think. But I look forward to reading that.
That's clickbait. Have you ever seen it?
Interesting.
I like Johnny.
McFeast sold out.
Yes.
Phil the Syndicate. Yeah. He is very exciting. He got over to Henry's a few days ago, at the end of last week, and he is going to go into training there sometime next month. Looking forward to him indeed. And on to the next one.
Any update on the Ghost Horse?
No. We think we just got to sort out some of the finer details. But yeah, and she also can't get over here until there's no transport next week, so it'd be the week after. So she's lodging with who's turning into a very good friend of ours in Shanti, Hugo Verien. He's doing a good job of looking after the horses before they can travel over. But she's on her way. She's exciting, but I'll just hold back until we got everything 100% sorted. So,
more importantly, how's our superstar? Good.
Came out for a race well. That's the benefit of buying a horse who's had 40 runs, is they normally take their runs well. She's alive and kicking. We were actually on about the times of those races in our chat today, and that our race was 11 seconds slower than the second division. And I bet your bottom dollar that Rosie's Hollow would lap the horses in the second division. So it looks like they went no gallop. Global Equity got an easy enough lead there. So I'd say what Shona wants is a good gallop, because she just keeps on galloping. So on to next day. One more run in the maiden, and hopefully we'll win. If we don't, we're on to handicaps. We're on to handicaps either way, but yeah, so
2.5 miles, soft ground, good to soft ground, ball out in front, jumping stupid, laughing our way to the bank after backing her from 5-2 into 6-4. We're not going to get a price on her next time.
You carry on, Andrew. I'm not backing her anyway. I get stressed enough about these. I've texted you and
we get text off Tom about 7:30 in the morning. Anyone nervous yet? I'm shitting it. I don't know why.
It was like 7:30 the day before I was texting you.
I was like, what's up with this chap?
Nah, I don't need any of my hard-earned cash on to make it even more bloody nervy for me. I get nervy enough, and if they win, I'll go mental anyway. So I don't need any cash involvement at all. So.
Can I just say thanks to everybody again for the comments and the Facebook messages? There's still people messaging me that just watched the show and watched the podcast, and I got more messages since I came back on Sunday. But Wayne Harrison can go fuck himself, to be quite honest. And I think you deleted the comment, Andrew, but he put up a comment about that boxing match. I'll still do it. You're the one that wouldn't accept it, so.
Friends!
Do you know, I actually saw some. Let's not give him too much airtime now, and let's not name him, but I saw some comments on Twitter about him. Apparently, we're not the only ones, lads.
Everywhere, Tom. I'd be getting messages off people from other podcasts. Oh, do you know anything about this fella? I just block him, lads. Just don't even give him the time of day.
Anyway, that's him done. He doesn't need any more airtime.
Bad heart and all. I'd wring his neck if I ever found him.
He would. That's before I get him. Well, anyway, enough of that. I wouldn't even say the word. Right, yeah. So
Dave, I'm just going to say, Dave, you should stay on for the Cheltenham video, because it won't take long and you're going to love my selection.
I can't. I have to take meds and stuff.
We'd be 15 minutes.
Get them down your neck. We'll be quick. On to the next video and we'll get them done.
Right.
You're going to love it.
Yeah, he's gone, Dave. Right, we're back. Cheltenham, I'm all over the place now. Cheltenham Festival Antipost video coming up next. If you don't watch that, we're back on Sunday at 8 o'clock for Talking Points, our weekend review show, and we're out.